Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. And today we're here to talk about a big, colossal F-up. That's putting it mildly. Okay, so Mapping the Wilderness ends today. People's rank has been jumping around, and not because of the points that they've been getting. I'm here to talk about a whatever the opposite of an exploit is. Basically, the players are getting effed for reasons that they shouldn't be. So in this video, if you've seen your ranking jump around dramatically, like a few people in my Discord server have, we've got to the bottom of exactly what's going on. And hopefully you don't do this, but you may have been caught out in this as well. And I want to go over this so that Scopely will see this, hopefully, and we'll get some rectification on this, for lack of better words. It's late at night. Kind of chose a better word than that. But anyways, the leaderboard is compromised and it's rigged because there's basically, you're going to keep getting shoved back to the back of the leaderboard, at least within your points, because we know that this leaderboard has a lot of people stacked up together. And I'm going to try to prove this using my boosted account. We're going to talk about all this and more. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Okay, so I have a little storyboard with a bunch of tabs that we're going to go through together. Now, this screenshot here is not something I said. It's something that one of my Discord followers had said, because this was much earlier on in the day. Don't ignore the 12:52. That's basically pretty close to now. But this is something that was like this afternoon. And they said, did something happen with the leaderboard? I somehow climbed places without doing anything. Since the free claim, I dropped from around 4,000 to 18,000. And just check now, I had climbed to 15,000. So the 18,000 was just basically all the people getting their last minute rewards, the 2 p.m. stuff, I think, and things like that. But basically, there was no other inputs to go into this event, and they went from 18K to 15,000. Now, there's no reason at all that you should be going up. If anything, you should be going down, right? Because other people are getting ahead of you and you're being pushed down. That's what it's supposed to happen. Now, I want to kind of backpedal a little bit because I want to explain how the leaderboards are supposed to be, how they're supposed to be split on the ties. Basically, we've been told that it's first come, first serve, which means the first person to reach those points are going to rank higher than other people. However, there is a huge flaw in this current event leaderboard that could possibly have been going on for many other events with this kind of scoring mechanism. But the only problem is that because everyone's so tight together that we're noticing it now. The last points I earned were the free claim nearly 24 hours ago. So Exhibit B, this is basically, oh, it's my frame again. So there we go. We can see the split here at the top of 133K and 133.5K. Now, most of you who completed everything free to play but don't have 5-star Alpha Flight characters should cap out at 133K. That's basically that if you cleared all of Sword Satellite and you did the web milestone and everything else, basically everything that you could have possibly got would end you up at 133K. Now, this is basically 7780, and this goes back quite dramatically. Now, this is Modus, who brought this to my attention. Now, he was 7806 at 133K. He went and did one raid node on the Spotlight raid with Alpha Flight, and he got dropped to 21,658, which was still 133K. Now, I want you to look at the time. 13 hours, 48 minutes, 14 hours. So 12 minutes had passed, and he went from 7806 to 21,650 in the span of 12 minutes. There's no effing way that this would have happened. Same points, 133K. So how did this happen exactly? I want to show you because he recorded a video. He tested this again on his account, and I want to show this with you. So he was at 21,571. Why is that higher than the second screenshot? That's because the more people were raiding with their Alpha Flight characters, it was recalculating the points from the Alpha Flight. So you get 3,000, 5,000 points, I forget, for Alpha Flight. But even though you've already got those points, it's still recalculating the points even though you're not moving. So even though you're still staying at 133K, it's putting you to the back of the leaderboard as if you were getting points again, the first come, first serve thing. So because people have already reached 133K, you're basically dropping to the bottom of the 133K section of the leaderboard, which in this case is pretty far back. There's a good 14,000, 15,000 people with the exact same score. So I'm just going to show you, we're going to jump ahead a little bit. Basically, he goes into the raids. This is within a span of 2 minutes or less, honestly. He goes into the the raid section, you can see over here. And then he goes in with Alpha Flight. He quits the battle. It doesn't really matter what node, frankly. It's just the fact that you're using Alpha Flight at all. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be Spotlight raid. Just anywhere where you can use an Alpha Flight member. Could be other raids as well that kind of fit that in. And then he goes to the leaderboard. And once you get there, and where does it move him? Once it recalculates, it does lag a bit, right? So you got to click it a couple times to actually get to your new position. It sends you back to 21,870. That's within the span of a minute, and it's still the same rank. So don't expect that. That basically means that 300 people had rated, actually no, that doesn't. That's basically that all of these people are rating at the same time, essentially, and they're just getting dropped back down to the bottom of the 133K section. I know it's a little bit confusing and maybe a little bit hard to follow, but my point is don't raid with Alpha Flight, or you're going to get dropped to the very bottom of the leaderboard. You can go and test it yourself, and actually, we're going to try and test that here with my alt account. And you can see here that basically the reason why I have these other screenshots is the range between the top of 133 and the bottom of 133 is like a good, what is that? It's like 14,000 ranks from like 70, whatever it was this other one that I had. Basically 7,800 all the way down to like 21.9 essentially. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and do this with, now I'm going to go back in just to make sure I have the exact rank that I'm at. I think I might be able to do this. If I can't do this on my alt account, so 55,792. I think I left a node that we could do in the spot. I remember wiping, so I'm going to try and do this again. I'm going to try to remember as well where I was at. And I'm hoping that Tana didn't clear this. Yes, okay, he's still here. Okay, because he's in my lane. So I wiped. What I'm going to do is for the purposes of this video, so I'm trying to remember what I should have saved a screenshot of what my rank was. And so for the section that I'm at, I'm going to go ahead just to show that I'm not, I'm just going to sim it because I don't think it matters. However, I am going to go into battle and manual it just because Modus did that too, just in case that does make a difference versus simming versus manual. I'm not sure. But basically it's taking my Alpha Flight and recalculating the points at the same point that I was at. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to quit. We're going to go back to the leaderboard because I don't want to waste a minute here of your time doing this. Okay, I'm back, and I did that. It's been like a minute or two. I went back and checked my video recording of the other part, and I was at 55,790. So I'm going to go back and check. Somehow I've gone up. I'm not even sure how that's possible. 56,106. I'm supposed to go down, in fact, but you could see. Actually, no, I am. I'm not sure how I managed. Did I get points for that? I'm not sure. I don't think so. 114,000. Let me double check. Okay, I double checked my other clip from before, and I'm definitely still at 114,000. So what does this mean, and why did I go up? That's because I think a lot of other people are rating right now, and they're being booted to the bottom or whatever. There's some recalculation going on. It's just absolutely insane, and the numbers are just being fucked around. That's basically all I can say, because you can see right here, I'm basically at the bottom of 11,400. Sorry, 114,000. That's what I meant to say. And there's the break right there, because I got shuffled down to the very bottom of the 100. See, people are going down there. But I mean, just saying that this is what's going on. And that means the leaderboard is compromised. I don't want to do this on my main account just to prove a point, but I can tell you that I've already had a lot of people in my Discord doing this just to also test it. And the same thing has happened. You do it yourself. If you're in that 133K bracket, and let me know how that goes. If you want to test it for yourself, but you're going to get kicked down to the back where you're not going to get 1 to 3%. Because there are people who would have been at the 133K who would have got the 1 to 3%, because it would have been the top 9 to 10,000. And based on the previous photos that I showed you, some of these other ones, like, yeah, you could be 133K right here, you know, anywhere from 77, 80 to possibly 10,000 would have got 1 to 3%. But if you accidentally did a raid on Alpha Flight and kicked yourself back to the back of the leaderboard, well, Scopely says F you. Unless they plan on fixing this, the leaderboard is compromised. The event is ending I'm going to say momentarily, but by the time you watch this, probably momentarily at 2 p.m. Pacific time, it's very likely that they could lock the leaderboards. But at this point, I don't know what they can do to fix it. It's effed. For lack of better words, I want to swear a little bit more, but I hope that they watch this, and I hope that they understand that the mechanics are severely busted. Anyone within that 7,000 to 20 this range is screwed. And they constantly get recalculated if you raid with Alpha Flight. And I don't know how they're going to fix this, because everyone's being shuffled around. They're not going to know where their position was beforehand. I mean, unless you had proof, and you're going to get the wrong payout. Anyone who was hoping to get 1 to 3%, who was in the top 10,000, and you're wondering why you're not anymore, this is why. So yeah, it's messed up. And this is probably one of the worst things that I've ever seen. And this makes me wonder for other events that have leaderboards as well. Anytime it says this, like anytime there's a limit, things like that, where you could do the objective again and you're tied with other people, it seems like it does recalculate internally and your leaderboard position is being shuffled around. So if this happens with a leaderboard in the future, I would watch out for conditions like this, especially where there's a lot of people potentially tied. But even if there isn't that many people tied together, it's still gonna like jump you down to the bottom of that section each time you clear this objective, even though you've already done it. I hope that I got this across, because it's absolutely effed. They need to like put out a statement and do something about this, because this is just highly unacceptable. Hope you guys learned something. That's the end of this video. Thanks to everyone who contributed to this one, and I'll see you guys on the next one sometime after 2 p.m. when we talk about the next event. Bye for now.